Hola a todos, este es Thunder Rosa y estás escuchando Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. This is Thunder Rosa and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
When they're not covering the sports world, they're talking about the world of professional wrestling.
It's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Now, with Justin Simmons, here's Stu Myrick.
Here's your winner of the 2020 Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, Asuka!
Indeed, an historic moment tonight for that woman, Asuka.
Give it to me! It's mine! Let me get your hand! I got it! I got it! Double down! Yeah!
Stop! Here's your winner of the 2020 Men's Money in the Bank ladder match, Otis!
You Mandy! I did it! Oh yeah! Oh yeah, money in the bank!
Oh, Mandy, he did it. He did it. He did it. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the horn. Stu Myrick, just in this match, Simmons.
I don't know if people even knew what the second part was because there was so much random stuff going on in the background that it really doesn't do it any justice unless you saw it.
I know. That was the audio courtesy WWE Network of the two winners of the Money in the Bank briefcases. You had picked Asuka.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I had Shayna Baszler, but Asuka was probably the close second. I figured yours. Anybody that picked Otis needs to go buy a lottery ticket.
He was my second pick.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop. So anyway, congratulations to Asuka and Otis. Now, before we get to the rest of Money in the Bank, we have to address what happened 24 hours later with Asuka. And more specifically, with Becky Lynch. Because Monday night on Raw, Becky Lynch starts the show, comes out to the ring with the very Money in the Bank briefcase that Asuka retrieved. Explains that she has to go away for a while, asks Asuka to come out, and lets her know that the briefcase she retrieved contained much more than just a contract.
You have beaten me when nobody else could. You have been the best wrestler in the world for a long time, and this is why I am so glad that this is happening to you. Because the match last night, it wasn't what you thought it was. It wasn't for an opportunity to win the championship. The match last night was actually for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, I can't fight anymore, but you can. You are the champion.
I'm the champion?
You are the champion.
I'm the champion!
You are the champion.
Yeah, I'm the champion! Yeah!
You are the champion. Now, and as happy as you are to be the champion, I might be a little bit happier. So you go and be a warrior, because I'm going to go be a mother.
So there you have it. Becky Lynch, after 399 days, gives up the Raw Women's Championship. Basically, it gets presented to Asuka as a result of winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. Meanwhile, Becky Lynch is going to go off and have a baby. Congratulations to Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins.
She may be having a baby, but something tells me that she might be having a post-WWE career that's going to be not on par with The Rock, but might be going a little further than Cena's at the moment.
Well, that's down the road.
No, it's not down the road. Let's talk facts.
No. Stop. Let's not. That's almost as bad as people going, well, what about her wrestling career? The woman is pregnant with a child. She's going to have a child.
Congratulations, we said that.
So let's spend a bit of time on that.
But
right
it doesn't
now.
necessarily mean that's like the one sole thing that's going to happen post this.
That's not what we're saying. It has nothing to do with what we're saying. This is simply the fact of the matter that Becky Lynch gets to realize a dream of starting a family with her fiance, Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with what happens afterwards.
But I'm thinking that, I'm thinking during this time off that she's going to get to film a couple of those projects as well. So this could be a bigger goodbye than I think most people realize.
It's possible. I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think,
like, am I happy for them? Yes, obviously, yes. They're having a family. This is terrific. And if there's something that both people truly want, this is terrific.
She did an interview with People Magazine. She said, quote, "I always wanted kids. I'm just so career focused that it became one of those things that when you're chasing a dream for so long, I always wondered, am I going to get around to it? Is it going to happen for me?" And it talks about when it was talked about with Seth when they started dating and they got engaged, and they first found out they were expecting. Becky went through a number of pregnancy tests in April, so this was around WrestleMania time. The first one actually came out negative, but she felt like she took the first one wrong. She took a few more pet tests, got a digital one that confirmed it. Seth was all excited, and so there you go. Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins going to be mommy and daddy. The man becomes the mom. So congratulations to them. It was a really cool moment on Raw last night. That was our Monday night. That's where real life, intersects with what happens in the ring. So now what happens after that or in between, who knows? I don't think anybody is going to really worry too much about what Becky Lynch does, other than hopefully she has a successful, healthy birth and the child comes out, again, healthy and happy and with two loving parents that will take care of it. And so it'll be interesting to see. And we saw a little tinge of this on Monday Night Raw. We'll see what happens with Seth, because Seth is on this heel turn as the Monday Night Messiah. By the way, did you like Seth's new music? Did you see it? Did you hear it? It was much more Messiah-like. They've gotten rid of the burn it down, the frenetic guitar riffs for more Messiah-like music. So, but Rey Mysterio was doing an interview. Seth comes out.
Wait a minute.
Did you see that?
Wait.
What?
So you mean to tell me that Rey Mysterio's alive?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. We haven't got to that part yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
Let's back it up.
This is post Money in the Bank. I'm looking through our list here. I'm like,
so yeah. Let's go back to Money in the Bank. We kind of doing this weaving and everything. Money in the Bank. By the way, all the champions that had title matches, they all retained. So, during the ladder matches,
tell me what you really think of this pay-per-view. It was shorter.
It was shorter. It was in fact, so not counting the pre-show, the pay-per-view clocked in at 2 hours, 24 minutes.
Nice and bite-sized.
The last time a pay-per-view clocked in under 2.5 hours, ECW December to December in 2006. That was at 2:14. If you don't want to count the, quote, ECW, the WWE ECW pay-per-views, then you have to go all the way back to 2002, WWE Insurrection from the UK at 2 hours, 23 minutes.
Basically in your house show.
Yeah. So I was thrilled with the length. Now, I think they did that on purpose because they knew everybody was waiting to see the first chapter of Undertaker: The Last Ride.
Really? You think it's just because of Undertaker?
Oh, yeah.
It's not because of the lack of crowd trying to cover up for the less than enthusiastic product?
No, because if they were worried about that, they would have shortened WrestleMania. WrestleMania was in the very same building.
Well, I think WrestleMania is different because it's the marquee event. Nobody knew how to handle this, but I can see them going forward if this is how. What do you mean so? They divided it into 2 nights.
WrestleMania is, but
it would have been 7 hours long.
They weren't always 7 hours long.
But they had that. If you're going to WrestleMania now, you're expecting a 7-hour-long show.
Sadly, yes.
Yes, and what they did, instead of having a 7-hour-long show with no crowd, they cut it up into 2 nights.
Yes.
And the two in the marquee events weren't even wrestling.
Right. And it was still longer than what this was.
Yes.
And I'm saying because
but
they
it
wanted
wasn't,
people to stick around for Undertaker. But anyway, so you mentioned Rey Mysterio. So during the ladder match, by the way, what did you think of the going through the building and
it was basically what I expected.
Yeah. I mean, it was some of the cameos were kind of cute. Brother Love in the bathroom. Glad they showed him washing his hands. Very good. Good job. WWE pushing the hygiene.
I think it would have been funnier if they showed him he didn't.
No. We want to set the example. Vince going AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
That was probably the best part of the whole thing.
That was funny. Apparently, now from what I have read, the point where AJ and Daniel look at each other as they're leaving and they go back and reset the chairs. That's because whenever you have a meeting in Vince's office, once the meeting is over, you're expected to put the chairs back where they were. So that was kind of a play on that. And then, of course, Vince, being the germaphobe he is, getting his dollop of hand sanitizer and then just going back to work, just because it's Vince.
Yeah, he does.
He was in jeans too.
Well,
notice that?
It is a Sunday.
Yeah.
Just relaxing at the office. Doesn't even really have to be there.
Well, it's true. Well, but it's Vince. He's, I think sleeps.
He's the boss. He can do whatever he wants.
20 minutes a day. So, so they finally make it all the way up to the roof where the ring is and the briefcases. The one thing that puzzled me was you had Asuka going up one ladder and you had Baron Corbin going up the other ladder, and they started fighting each other. Did they not realize that they were going after separate briefcases? Why were they fighting each other?
Yeah, I was trying to understand that there's only one winner combined out of that would have been interesting if there would only be one winner out of the 16 contestants.
Yeah,
essentially. But
yes,
that made no sense.
It didn't. You're right. King Corbin. So everybody else made it up. They're fighting, and eventually, Ray went over first. I think so. He throws Rey Mysterio over
the
ledge, and you hear a thud. Then he does almost right after it. Aleister Black goes over the edge and thud. Now, because they have to explain these things. Monday Night on Raw, Rey Mysterio, he came out to talk to Charlie Caruso, and he even said, "Man, I guess God was looking upon me because when I got tossed over the edge by Corbin, I landed on another roof. Instead of going all the way down the 10 stories, he just went down about 6 feet."
That is true, though.
So, that's but okay. Look, I think unless you're really holding on tight to kayfabe, you kind of figure, okay, yeah, there was another ledge there or something like that. This wasn't like Hogan tossing the Giant over the edge in WCW, back in 94, I think it was. So remember the monster trucks on the ceiling there?
I do remember that.
So anyway, shortest pay-per-view in almost 2 decades. I was totally okay with that because I think we've said many times, just about every pay-per-view, there's at least a match or two that could be cut. And this one was no exception. They added 2 matches last minute, one of which was R-Truth and MVP.
Which was much needed. What, you don't want more
really?
R-Truth? R-Truth is a national treasure.
He is. I get that. I'm all for that. But
he's the former
18-time
24/7 heavyweight champion.
But
24/7 I-35, whatever comes back with it.
Yeah, European. Yeah. Anyway, but it was still kind of like, okay, sure. And it ended up not even be MVP. Lashley comes out, takes his place, and then Lashley
Did you not like the new
spears
look Lashley with the pants?
That was weird to see him in long tights.
Yeah, completely different than what he usually wears.
Well, and as it turns out on Raw, apparently Lashley and MVP may be joining forces.
Kind of seems like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a partial beatdown crew reunion from their days in Impact.
Yeah.
All they need now is Kenny King, and I think it was King Mo was part of that as well. So
was keeping the titles on the New Day the right call?
Yeah.
It was a really good match, though.
It was a great
fun.
match. It was a wonderful match. It was high flying. It was very impactful. I'll tell you what, Drew and Seth.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. That was a great match.
Yeah.
It really was. What did you think of Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt?
It was okay. I know what they're trying to do.
I get that. It was kind of Braun comes up and he's got the black sheep mask, his old white family mask, and Bray is like, "Oh my God, you're coming back to the family!" And then Braun takes the mask off, stomps it, and then
I feel bad for Bray having to wrestle in a sweater though. That looks uncomfortable.
Somebody tweeted out that sweater is going to smell awful in about half an hour.
Easily.
Oh God, yeah. So
is that cashmere? Looked like cashmere.
Looked like cashmere. Did it have a spot on it? So, it was fine. You were going to see the Fiend next, and sadly, I got a feeling the Fiend's going to get the title
Again, you got all those belts that they got to sell.
They're
waiting for you, Stu Myrick, to buy belts.
Dude, you know I have one replica belt. That's it. So, and that's...
But they want you to buy an authentic replica.
Except for the 10 pounds of gold, that's the only belt I'll own. I might get a 10 pounds of gold if I
What about if it goes on clearance?
I don't care.
I mean, they're custom made.
Couldn't care less.
By the Hollywood special effects artist himself.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sure somebody will buy it. It won't be me though. No.
Well, apparently not enough people did because they're going to have to give him another run here.
They may have to. They may have to do a discount on that. But anyway. Interesting things coming out of Money in the Bank.
So is Asuka just the transitional champion going forward? Because it seems like Baszler was set up to.
That was the idea, but the more I think of it now, watching her on Sunday, watching her Monday night on Raw, I get the feeling they're not going to put the title on her anytime soon. I mean, it'll happen, but I don't think it's going to be soon.
You think they missed the mark already on her?
Yeah.
Like there's no recovery?
I don't think it's not no recovery, but it just doesn't feel right now.
She just feels regular now.
Yeah.
Especially as good as Asuka's been the last couple of months.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's Asuka's been. I've heard a lot of people say she's been the MVP.
Oh, easily
of the empty arena.
Been saying it on this show for the last 3 weeks.
You heard that. Most of that was her dancing pretty much all over the performance center when Becky opened that briefcase and there was the belt. So, but yeah, congratulations to her. A couple other things. They are bringing back a version of the wild card. It's called the Brand to Brand Invitation. So they've announced next Monday on Raw, WWE Champion Drew McIntyre will face King Corbin from SmackDown. We assume this is because of ratings. I don't know why they think that's going to help the ratings. Is Baron Corbin that big of a ratings boost?
Depends on how much you like Baron Corbin. He's a good heel.
Exactly. He's a fine heel. I agree. He's a fine heel.
And this is going to be a Haas match.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it was a really physical match against Rollins and McIntyre.
Yeah,
I don't see why this one, especially with another guy who matches up well in size with him, and Corbin wouldn't be a barn burner of a match.
True.
A little slobber knocker.
Did you see who came back? We had a return.
Of Jeff Hardy?
The Iconics.
Oh, that return. Well, see, there was multiple returns. You had Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy would return on SmackDown.
And Cesaro is getting kind of jobbed out there, which is no fun to see.
Yeah, Simon Miller on his little ups and downs show, he'll have a tally of how many times Cesaro loses, and it's getting It's getting ridiculous.
Getting
quite
pretty
frankly.
one-sided,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So, but the Iconics are back.
Oh, I know. Eddie's thrilled.
They beat Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross in a non-title match. They're getting a title shot next week. So,
Eddie Cross is thrilled.
yeah, Eddie Cross is thrilled. One other thing, last week on NXT, we had the debut of Karrion Kross, formerly known as Killer Kross, along with Scarlett. I don't care what they do in the ring. That entrance alone is fantastic.
No.
That was a fantastic entrance.
It was a cool entrance because it was the first time we saw it. But it has to come through in the ring because we've already seen this with the last couple of wrestlers that have had a great entrance.
Yeah.
Somebody like Shinsuke Nakamura,
Right.
Awesome entrance. Hasn't really reached the level that was expected.
True.
And then you think about somebody like Aleister Black.
Yeah.
Awesome entrance. But it's now floundering. Probably should be in a tag team right now.
Yeah.
I kind of feel.
I don't say he's floundering, but he's
stuck
kind of
in
mid-level.
Yeah, he's stuck somewhere in the mid.
Killer Kross has the talent. I've seen him, in Impact, in Lucha Underground, everywhere. I've seen him on the Indies. He's got the look. He's got the talent.
Oh yeah.
And I hope they keep him in NXT for a while
I mean, both
because I think he'd go well in NXT.
both performers, Cross and Scarlett, both have the look.
Yes.
And they both can go, but will it transition to a national audience on Monday Night Raw or on SmackDown?
Yeah. Well, or NXT. Remember, NXT gets they get the same audience that Raw does.
I still don't think that you get the same exact style of fan. It's just you can't break.
Well, I know.
How many years has Raw been on the air now?
I know. But I'm saying that's what WWE's done. They put NXT on the same network as Raw.
Yeah, and
Their flagship show.
and they're trying. They're trying, but it's hard to run three brands. They've done it unsuccessfully once.
Yeah, they did. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, Mama Storm's baby boy, the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tim Storm, will join us. He'll let us know what he's been doing in quarantine. Plus, we may talk a little NWA. That's coming up next. You're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn.
Boom, boom, Cocabana. Boom, boom, Cocabana. Boom, boom, Cocabana. It's Cocabana. Straight out of the shy, Mr. Shake and Bake 45.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is professional wrestler, professional podcaster Colt Boom Boom Cabana, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Mazel tov.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons, Cole Cabana bringing us into this segment, a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion himself, as is the man joining us now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. As I said, also a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, a good friend of ours, and Mama Storm's baby boy. Tim Storm, how are you, sir?
Stu, Justin, man, and thank you guys for having me. I'm doing really good.
Okay,
all things considered, I'm doing really well.
Good. Is the family doing okay? Everybody's okay now?
Yeah, it's I hate to use the cliche, but these are our new norm. Trying times, all the things people say, but I've got I'm sure like everybody does. I've got people in my family that are a little susceptible to things, and so far, everybody's healthy and happy and doing well.
Okay, we got to ask the most important question of this whole interview. We just had Mother's Day. What did you do for Mama Storm?
Sent Mom a card and large print puzzle books. She was very disappointed that I didn't make the trip. It's probably the toughest thing so far about the whole pandemic and the quarantine is it's that really, really weird balance of, I've got to do the right thing to protect her, from potential and not have her upset that, I wasn't there for Mother's Day. And really what are we at, week 8? So it's been a couple of months, and I talk to her every day anyway, but there's nothing that replaces that hug for Mom, and getting to see her. So, but it's a balance that I'm not alone. A lot of people are having to make those hard decisions, and I just know that for me personally, I couldn't live with myself if I knew that I brought something in, that made my mom sick, especially at 95 years old. So, just having to do the right thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a tough balance for sure, but safety and health and welfare is paramount. So I totally get it. Yeah. Now, one of the things that has come out, that you talk about a lot is your career as a teacher, and right. So how I want to find out as a teacher how much this has affected you with schools closing down for the rest of the year, and how you relate to your students about what's happening. Just talk about that connection you have and what you deal with as a teacher during this pandemic.
It's a difficult situation for everybody. Where I'm at in Euless, Texas, it's a large percentage of our student body is economically disadvantaged, and for every household, and let's say at my junior high it's 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and in a school that's built for about 900 students, we have about 1,200. There's expansion going on, people are moving in constantly, and for me personally, if there are 300 and something 8th graders, which is what I teach, 8th grade, that's 300 and something different situations that each one of those students may have at their house. You don't know if it's, maybe a parent working from home and 3 siblings, all school age, that have one home computer or a telephone, a phone that may or may not have Wi-Fi, and how are they going to be able to function online? It's a challenging situation, and to be able to kind of, they've got 7 classes, and to potentially be able to do all the work for all those classes, we just have to be very, very sensitive to, what could be their needs. We have as I'm sure people are doing nationwide, we've got online classwork, Google Classroom where they can log in and see their assignments. And I do, it's become just the norm now, but, a Zoom video or Loom video every week, kind of laying out this is your assignment, this is what we're talking about, a brief lesson, and be aware of how much time that they may or may not have. So it's definitely a challenge. In my opinion, it's nowhere near as effective for learning as, my gift is standing up in front of students and talking, and that's gone. That's not even an option. So, and at this point going forward, none of us knows how long. Obviously we're done for the year, but depending on which of the rumors you're believing, this could have a second wave coming in the fall or in the winter, and we may be doing this again. So, it's a challenge.
It is challenge. Remind everybody what subject you teach.
I teach U.S. history, and really it's, they say 12, 15 through post-Civil War, but really that 12, 15, it really starts with, Jamestown, and then all the way through Civil War and Reconstruction. So okay. 8th grade U.S. history. I taught science for 5 years. I'm finishing my 6th year of U.S. history. I made a change, about halfway through.
And Tim, how many teacher gimmicks have you had throughout your career?
As far as what?
In professional wrestling.
How many teacher gimmicks have I had? Like, how many times have I
you ever used it?
Never. I've been wrestling for 25 years, and I come from the old school, which is there were some things that you just protected from the fans. You didn't like, for me personally, my thing was I wanted to keep my family separate. I didn't want, anybody to really, because my wrestling personality, people could love me or hate me, but that shouldn't affect my family. Mm-hmm. I've always been the older guy because I didn't start till I was, a little over 30. I didn't want anybody to really know how old I was. I didn't want that to affect anything. And I didn't want anybody to know I was a teacher, not because it embarrassed me, but because, as a professional wrestler, kind of what the image you want to project, and it's just for being an old school guy. You wanted to have everybody believe that you were rolling up in a limo, making millions of dollars because you're a professional wrestler. And, those 3 things I protected for a really long time, until the new ownership group with NWA as the world champion, approached me and said, "We think you have a really interesting story that people would like to hear. We would like to open that up." And, it took a little time for both sides to kind of build that trust and, friendship. And I just opened it up, and that became the 10 Pounds of Gold series. That was kind of the launching point for the new NWA. Was
it difficult kind of breaking away from that old school mentality to allow them to come into your life? Like, how long did you wrestle with that thought about, should I, shouldn't I?
It was definitely difficult. And it wasn't the trust that was difficult. It was just opening that part of my life up to people. And really, I like who I am. It doesn't bother me who I am, but that's just not how I was brought into the business. And then there's there's always that little bit of question of, what if people don't like who I am? And the first episode of 10 Pounds of Gold, I caught a lot of backlash on it, not from workers, but from fans. And it was mostly about my age. How can you have, what legitimately is the oldest championship in wrestling? How can you have a guy that's 53 years old and he's a school teacher represent your company? Somewhere around the second episode, people started going, "Wow, this is different. This is a good story." And by the third episode, I heard very little of that. And, now it's just public knowledge. Where I go, I've never played the teacher deal. Every once in a while, I'll drop that as in the middle of a promo, where I'll say, summer's here or school's in session. But for the most part, that's just, I did a lot of things before I taught. So that's not even necessarily who I am. It's just what I do.
I understand. Talk with former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tim Storm. Tim, they aired the Super Power episode that was supposed to be the go home episode before Crockett Cup for NWA Powerrr tonight. Just talk for a second about how fun it was to watch it on YouTube, and at the same time, I guess there's probably a tinge of disappointment that there isn't going to be a Crockett Cup, at least right now, leading into it. But it was such a good episode. Just talk for a little bit about that.
Well, that has been the whole experience with NWA Powerrr has been, for me personally, has been just fantastic. When you, as a performer, as a professional wrestler, you have no idea how anybody's going to react to you. And the way the NWA, the way, William Patrick Corrigan and Dave Lagana kind of put things together is, and they told, in a all personnel meeting said, this is a different place. We're not going to write promos for you. We're not going to tell you what to say. And basically we're going to hand you a live mic in front of a crowd with, that's going to go on TV, and you either sink or swim. So the experience from the very beginning has been fantastic. Obviously, I think the world of professional wrestling and the world in general, we're in the middle of something that's a huge change that we're all having to adapt to on a personal level. I'm 56, and I have no clue. Now, let me be completely honest and say I've also been saying this for 16 years, right? I don't know how much time I have left in wrestling. So there is the potential, depending on how long this lasts, that this could actually be taking away, the whatever time I've got left. I don't know. I don't hope not, because I'm ready to. I'm chomping at the bit to get back. So not just Crockett Cup, but man, we had such great momentum with the NWA, with Powerrr, and with the pay-per-views were rolling and growing with each one, and the Crockett Cup was going to be our biggest one. So it's very disappointing. But it's out of everybody's control, and it's affecting. One of the things that I was telling people is prior to all this was a great time to be in wrestling, to watch wrestling. As a fan, as a wrestler, because there were so many new options and so many opportunities. And I'm not saying those opportunities aren't going to be there, but it has changed the world of wrestling. The big promotions are still going to be there, but this has affected some of the smaller indies, which I do a lot of. Some of these guys aren't going to be able to recover from that, and that hurts everybody.
Yeah, I know it's going to be whatever pro wrestling looks like after this is over, it's definitely going to be different from pre-COVID-19. Couple things before I let you go. First of all, in this episode, you had the match with Godzilla Jax Dane, the man that you took the title from several years ago in Sherman. That match looked like it was just as physical as you would expect from you two. And I've known you two forever. I consider you two of my closest friends. Love you both to death. But that was a real throwback match. Just talk about how much you enjoyed being in the ring with Jax, and at the same time, I mean, some of the hits you took, I think you may still be feeling some of those tinges of pain.
Well, it's Jax and I have locked up. I don't know how many times, 10, 15, 20. I don't know. I think I've probably wrestled him trying to win the NWA World Title probably 3 or 4 times. I know I lost the North American title to him in Las Vegas, and then I got it back. I beat him for that world title, and then we had the match that aired tonight. Anytime I get in the ring with Jax, and he'll tell you the same thing, we know what to expect, right? It's 2 big physical guys, and the thing is, and I usually don't speak for other people. I'll speak for Jax on this one, but that's in our wheelhouse. We know that we can go out there and just beat the snot out of each other. And that's what we do. So, as sad as weird as it sounds, that's something I enjoy doing. Try to, put me in a match against a technical wrestler. And it's not that I can't, I just don't enjoy it as much. They gave Jax and I a no disqualification match that we could do anything to each other that we wanted. And we did. And it was brutal. And obviously one of us was bleeding and one of us was concussed and one of us thought we broke a neck, and wow. And we came out of it, I can't wait to do it again. I mean, it's something that's the twisted part of being a professional wrestler. You got to be turned a little bit different. And Jax and I know that when we get in there, that's what we're going to do to each other. And when we're done, we're going to, regardless of who wins, we're going to shake hands and hopefully go home safe and look forward to doing it again. Yeah. I'd love to work a program with Jackson. Let's do that, 4 or 5 more times. It was that much fun.
I'd be all for it. As I said, I've known both you two for a while. Love you both. Before we go, so at the end of tonight's NWA Powerrr Superpower, William Patrick Horgan announced that in its place for the time being is going to be something called Carneyland. Right. And all we know is the title. And we know that's going to start, I believe, next Tuesday night at 6:05 p.m. Eastern on the NWA YouTube channel. I don't want to get you in trouble, but do you have any idea what this Carneyland thing's going to be?
I have some ideas. At this point, I think it's going to be a big surprise to everybody. And, even as those of us that are, NWA guys, there's been a lot of discussion. We kind of know we've all we've talked about ideas and ways that we can contribute. And just for those listening, because I can't give a lot of information because I don't know either. Like right. I had not seen Jackson and I's match until tonight when everybody else watched it. So I'm on the same page with everybody else. So I'll see it. I'll know what it's going to be when it airs. As far as I know, I'm not a part of this week's, but for wrestling fans or those sports fans that are listening, the term carny comes from carnival, mm-hmm. and to be a carny can be a bad thing. It can be a good thing. We all know people who we would say are carnies, and in life in general, there are very specific examples of things that would fit into someone being a carny. I don't want to give anything away, but as a history teacher, man, I'll be careful with this. As a history teacher,
don't get in trouble.
Tell you, no, well, I don't think I would, but as a history teacher, for example, let's say the Louisiana Purchase was very carny. When well, I don't get all historical on you, but when we approached France as the United States to buy just the port of New Orleans, so we'd have access to the port through the Mississippi River, we offered $5 million for that. Well, we doubled the size of the United States for $15 million, which turns out to be the greatest land deal of all time, only because Napoleon wanted to finance his war. That's a little bit carny right there, right? So it's a little sneaky. It's things that you would kind of look at and kind of, scratch your head and go, oh, that's interesting. To me, that's what carny is.
Okay. And that's what we'll be surprised with everybody else. I'm good with that.
Me too.
Did we just come up with your new catchfriz? I don't want to get all history on you, because it sounds like it needs to go on a shirt.
No, I think we need to stick with your still Mama Storm's baby boy.
I will always be Mama Storm's baby boy. I don't design. I have never in my life tried to design a catchphrase. If I said that when I said I'm Mama Storm's baby boy, that was completely. I didn't think through that. I just said it because it's true.
It was organic.
It was a little bit of my ode to Dusty Rhodes, and for whatever reason, the fans loved it and it stuck around.
It stuck around and then some.
You are such a brilliant orator. I don't think people give you enough credit for how well you speak.
Well, here's the funny thing is that there was a very good chance that people wouldn't have liked what I had to say, right? That's wrestling. I don't really plan promos. I'll have kind of a general outline in my head, but one of the things that I got from Dusty Rhodes was you don't plan your promos, you don't practice them. Because if you practice it in the car 100 times when you get in front of people, it's no longer emotional and passionate. You have to feel it in order for people to, to believe it. And what you hear me say is just me being me. And the fact that people liked it and responded to it was a surprise to me too.
Well, it was beautiful. It's gold.
It's brilliant.
I think Mama Storm probably should get a little bit of the percentage of the merch money. And I'm sure you find a way to at least take care of her.
She's got a Mama Storm t-shirt, which
that's
is
right.
What I got for
that's
that,
right.
so.
She does.
Yeah.
He is Tim Storm, the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Catch him in the NWA when they get back up and running. And I tell you what, I hope it's soon. Until then, Tim, love you to death. You've been so good to us from the very beginning. All the best to you. All the best to your family, to Mama Storm, to everybody up there. And we'll chat again soon.
Justin, Stu, always a pleasure. Love you guys. Love the show. Always fun to be a part of it and talk to you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, Tim Storm is a national treasure.
Man, he is smooth. That was probably one of the best interviews we've had with any talent. Because he does the teaching, but I think it's just naturally Tim Storm.
Well, he's always been that way with us. Going all the way back to the Pro Wrestling Texas days, when he would come as the North American champion. He was North American champion when Jax was the world champion, and just as good as gold. Not to mention, I get to feel good because it's one of the few times I get to interview somebody that's older than me. So that's a plus on my side. So, although I didn't realize he was 5 years. I thought he was like only 2 or 3. But
so you're saying that if he can do it, you can do it?
No. We're not going to go
just
that
one
way.
match, dude.
No. When we come back from this timeout, we got a few more little nuggets from the world of professional wrestling. You're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, and you're listening to The Horn, where Austin talks wrestling.
This is the natural Dustin Rhodes, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling right here.
God, I love that music. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons. That thing just gets me.
I was going to say, D-Dog has been doing some good stuff.
Man,
by the way, let me pose this question to him because I know he is an avid listener. I have a question about a segment starring old Dusty back in championship wrestling from Florida. Something about half his face was paralyzed. I was kind of wanting some more insight on that whole program, and I was hoping that maybe he has an answer. So if you're listening, D-Dog, I'm going to have to speak with you about this.
Yeah, well, we may do that.
I don't remember what year exactly, but I know it was Gordon Soley interviewing him. He had just been attacked, but like half his face is paralyzed.
I'd be interested in hearing that too. I know Dustin and I texted back and forth a couple days ago, and we're going to try to get him on leading up to Double or Nothing. So,
or Cody, for that matter, if you're listening to,
or Cody,
you can answer this question.
Could get either one of them.
To hear
That's
this.
right. Cody's a multi-time guest on this show, so we'll get either one of them. Speaking of Double or Nothing, it was announced last Wednesday night on Dynamite that Jon Moxley will defend the AEW World Title against Brody Lee, the Exalted One. Brody Lee even took the belt, although Moxley's still the champion.
Is it too soon?
To do what? To change title?
No, just to put Brody Lee into a possible situation where he can eat the loss.
I don't know. I think maybe a little.
Or is this like, okay, he's hot right now, so we have to do this? But I mean, Moxley's so hot.
I think it's a little bit of both.
And at the same token, I still kind of want to see Jericho have a chance at a rematch to hold the belt again.
I do, but I think at the same time, Jericho's at that point where he doesn't need the belt.
Oh, I understand.
You know?
But he's so entertaining with it.
Plus, Chris is kind of in that role like what Ric Flair used to do. He wants to put over the younger talent. So, I mean, the connection he has with Sammy Guevara, for example, is a prime example of that. So,
don't get me wrong. The idea to have Mox as the champion has been the right call because the
agree.
crowd's hot for him as well.
Absolutely. One other thing about Double or Nothing, they did announce there will be a casino ladder match, a la Money in the Bank. And just like Money in the Bank, the winner will get a shot at the world title. So far, 3 participants have been announced: Darby Allin, Colt Cabana, and Orange Cassidy. So I'm sure we'll hear more. Don't know if they'll do 6 or 8 or 10.
Is it now? Just hear me out. Is it funny that all these companies allude to cash being inside the briefcase? However, none of them contain cash in any of those briefcases. It's a contract.
No. The cash is a verb, not a noun.
Yeah, like money in the bank.
Right. Well, I don't know why they call it but they have, and AEW just calls it the casino ladder match.
Yeah,
although I guess you use cash in a casino.
Yeah, that's why it's like everything's like money related, but it's just like, it's a contract.
It is kind of weird, isn't it? It is. So anyway,
I don't get paid to write the headers.
I know. I'm there with you. What did you think of the street fight? That was fun.
Street fight was good.
That was a lot of fun. Saw 3 versions of Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara getting run over by, it wasn't a golf cart. It was like a 4-wheeler utility type thing.
Yeah, it was something that you see backstage that they drive around.
Except in this case, it was the concourse of TIAA Bank Field, the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, that's something that you can do when there's no fans there, though. You have plenty of room to work with.
And I've seen them. I've seen them in the locker room area down in AT&T Stadium when I go for the Cowboys game. So, we're used to them, but it was fun nevertheless. Fantastic. That'll do it for this week's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You can follow Justin Smash Simmons on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter at SGTWATX. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We are proud to be the official broadcast partner of the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we're proud to be part of the great lineup you hear every day. On the flagship station for the Texas Longhorns, we are The Horn. Catch us Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Central on The Horn, or you can catch us anytime on demand by going to hornfm.com and click on the On-Air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast platform. Our thanks to Tim Storm for joining us, and our thanks to you for giving us a little bit of your time tonight. For Justin, I'm Stu. As soon as this thing is over, we will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night.